What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Coach Cruz. I'm your host, Brad. If there's anybody new out there joining us, and yeah, as you can see in the background, I don't have a fancy background going on here because I am in San Diego, and yes, wrong thing. But I've joined the Marines. You might be saying you're a little too damn old to join the Marines, and you would be right. You would be right about that. I'm not joining the Marines officially, but I have joined the Marines for this week only as part of a very special workshop they do with educators as part of their marketing program to recruit. And, they have counselors and coaches and teachers and things like that. And they bring groups out here to Camp Pendleton and they give them a taste of what a new enlistee does. And we experienced that today. Let me tell you, I had drill sergeants screaming at me. I did the combat fitness test, a bunch of other stuff that we'll talk about here shortly. But I'm a Marine for a week, not an official one, but a voluntary one, I guess you could say. But it's been very enlightening, and it's a really cool thing. So we'll talk about it more. But Trisha and Bert Nichols get the gold this week. They were first to check in. And then we got Heather on the podium with the silver. And then Will G has the bronze. He has a cruise coming up, I know, as well. Then Chris Moss just missed the podium. Says, good evening, all. I was just on the West Coast on Sunday, had to come back to work. I was in LA. Yeah, I'm not far from there, Chris. And we have a group of people actually going to the Padres game tonight. I doubt I'm going to be able to make it. I thought they had an evening game tomorrow that they were talking about going to. So I told them because, I needed to see you all and be with you all here. So that's why I might miss the Padres game at Petco Park. But maybe if we wrap up here and I can get together or get cleaned up real quick, I could still make it out there. But it's probably not going to happen. Mike Anthony is here, admin Mike, and he has a cruise coming up very soon. And I know he is getting super pumped about that. I think he said it's 18 days away. Yep, 18-day countdown to New Orleans, bound to set sail on the Liberty. That is going to be awesome. So I'm excited for you, Mike. Ken Pascal is here. Welcome back, Ken. We got Rick, the Texas cruiser. He says, I'm on a 69er on the 4th. Okay, very cool. Not entirely sure what that means, but that might be a royal thing or something that I don't know about. I happen to know that Aaron, speaking of royal, because I know Rick is a big loyal to royal cruiser, she's on the Harmony of the Seas right now. If anybody saw some of the videos of her and I on the Jubilee, she is on the Harmony of the Seas. And she's having a really good time. She's comparing the food, and I'll save the comments I've gotten from her so far until she's come off and kind of give you her comparison between the two, between Carnival and Royal, and what she likes more about Royal or what she likes less, so on and so forth. So we'll give her a chance to give us all a full review. The Carnival Cruise Addicts say, Coach, and yes, we're back. I know I missed last Tuesday. I did do a short little live on the Jubilee, but I needed to make a point to get on this video. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the Jubilee today, and we'll talk a lot about the Marines today as well, because, like I said, that's a really cool experience. And I think you all will get a kick out of it. And I've been taking a ton of video just today of all the training and even me participating in the training. And I was talking with some of my colleagues here after some of this fitness testing that they do. And they had this combat fitness drill. And it's funny because when you're doing it, in my head, I looked something like an Olympic athlete sprinting around the football field, carrying heavy stuff and everything. And then I watched the video that somebody was nice enough to take of me. And yeah, it doesn't look very graceful at all. But I'm going to create a video and I will share that out to my embarrassment probably. But yeah, I'll give you all a chance to give your critiques and review. I will say this is I'm a little bit proud of. So they have one fitness thing that they do for all enlistees, and for males, I think they said it was something like 76 is the minimum to pass, or 72 to 106. Like if you can lift this 40-pound ammunition can over your head, it's got to go below your chin and then your arms extended all the way up, and it's 40 pounds. So if you can lift that between 72 and 106 times, 106 is basically considered like, 100%, then you get the max score or whatever. So I did 135 times. That ain't bad for somebody as old as me, right? So, but I do teach strength training, so I had to represent. So I definitely aced that one. The combat fitness training, again, like I said, not quite as graceful. But Justin is here. Justin, you're getting that gold medal. What happened today? You checked in late. Frankie Floyd says, hi, everyone. Good to see you, Frankie, as always. Texas Cruiser, I'm pretty sure I already pointed you out, but I'm going to put you up there again. Chris Moss, I think also I said hello, but we'll get Chris Moss back up there as well. We got Michelle B. Says, hey, y'all from the Magic. Wandering to blackjack table. Catch you later. Well, good luck, Michelle, if you're still hearing this. We got a resident comedian back once again. We got Brad H here. Good to see you, Brad. We have Adele Sargent. Says, hey, coach. Well, hey, Adele. How are you? Cheryl is here. Good to see you, Cheryl. As always, checking in on the Facebook side of things. Look, all kinds of comments, all kinds of people checking in already. Let's zip down here. I'm going to skip past some of the comments just to make sure I say hello to everybody. We got Lacey Bauer here, says, hiya, coach. What's up, Lacey? Oh, and we do have Amy McConnell checking in from the Harmony of the Seas and says, hi to CCA. Very cool. Thanks for checking in, Amy, and interrupting your cruise vacation. And of course, we have Edmund Tim once again. Good to see Tim as always. And there is Jeff Bauer. What's going on? Okay, so reminder, if you could click that like button, we'll populate this for more people. We got the original Charlie's Angel right here checking in. One Miss Angie Brooks. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in, Angie. And yeah, so like I said, it was clickbait, the thumbnail, me joining the Marines and all. But like I said, it's a fun experience, and anybody that would get the opportunity to do this, I think it would be, a great opportunity. So I jumped at the opportunity, and like I said, it's intimidating too. You might think like, okay, you're a bunch of grown adults, teachers and everything going over there. They're going to, just walk you around and point things out and be all nice. And that's partly true. They've been very accommodating, very nice and stuff, but they tried to simulate what it's like for a new recruit. And let me tell you, they do a really good job. They've sworn a little bit at us. They've screamed at us. They've made us run. Our drill sergeant and stuff, and he's gotten very frustrated that we weren't marching just right and made us do things again and again. And the other group, they were way far ahead of us because he needed to get our lines just perfect and marching just perfectly and everything to his satisfaction anyway. And yeah, so we did get kind of that new recruit feel. And as far as the bus goes, they put you on the same bus that new recruits. And from what I understand, 408 new recruits are going to be arriving at Camp Pendleton today. And they're going to get that very same experience, except for them, it's going to be very real. And to give you an idea, like I said, you get on the bus and and they basically just say, hey, get on the bus, whatever. And they're a little stern about it. They put you in lines, and they assign, like basically the front of the line person is in charge of that line. And then you start marching on the bus. And then once you get off the bus, well, you don't even get off the bus. You sit there for a second, and then these drill sergeants come running on the bus, and they start screaming at you, and then they say, get off the bus. And as soon as you get off the bus, and they're wanting you to like run off this bus. So you're moving off the bus as fast as you can, and they're like, get to the yellow footprints. And then they're kind of directing you, which yellow footprints to go to or whatever. And you're standing there, and then all of a sudden, again, it's just like you would see in the movies or something. They're all yelling at you and stuff, and they tell you to turn around and face this way and that way, and then you have to read something off the wall, and then they march you into the building. Once you get in there, you have to go to these and stand in front of these bins and empty out all your possessions into this little bin, and then they tell us what would happen. Or actually, they did tell us to do this. They told us to take out our cell phones and call a loved one or a family member or a friend or whatever, and tell them that you wouldn't hear from them for about 3 weeks. But there's a recited thing that you're supposed to read, and that's all you're supposed to read, and then you're supposed to hang up, and then that's the last you'll have access to your phone for at least 3 weeks. And there's something in there about the next time you hear from me, it'll be via letter or whatever. And I think the boot camp lasts 12 weeks. So I'm going to take just a break because I didn't do my normal spiel, but I did bring paper and pen. If anybody would like to do a super chat, you may think I'm crazy, but you know me by now. So I brought bourbon, and this is a big bottle. I don't know if it looks as big, but there's quite a bit of bourbon in there. And I have some to keep it safe. I have some Diet Coke here, and I have my cup, and I even have a measuring thing for shots. So if anybody would like to do a $15 super chat, I still have training tomorrow. Now tomorrow we get to shoot guns. And look at that. Frankie Floyd starts us off. Love it, Frankie. Thank you, sir. And I will be taking a drink here. And we got to get these super chats going now. Get ready for the next cruise, right? So cheers to you for that, Frankie, getting us started. At home, I have my list from 2 weeks ago when I was back in the studio. So next Tuesday, when I'm back home, if there's anybody that's still on that list, if we didn't get to even 100, I'll either add these names to that list, or, what I'll do. I'll combine it, whatever we need to do. But if there's anybody that hasn't been entered in a drawing that's still on a list from 2 weeks ago, I will add you to that list. And we got Rick, the Texas Cruiser. Thank you, sir. Rick, Tex C, 6 through 10, and Frankie Floyd, 1 through 5. Cruise Life TV is here. Greg and Michelle. Yes, Will G. The answer to that is yes, and I was just about to talk about that. We get to shoot guns tomorrow with live rounds. No joke. Most people would have to pay. Well, I don't even think you can pay for an experience like this. You're either invited to an experience like this and get to do it, or you're not, because, the Marines aren't like, an experience you can buy. You either have to be one or be lucky enough, like myself and the other educators and school people that are with me, that are getting the opportunity to participate in this. So yeah, we get to shoot weapons. Some other cool stuff today. We got to see martial arts combat from some of the martial arts instructors on the base, and they were demonstrating some fighting and taking each other down and stuff like that. That was really cool. Another thing that was really cool is we got to see their K9s and just how smart and well trained they are. and they had somebody dressed up in a suit so they wouldn't get hurt. And that dog, man, that dog just went after. Anytime they gave the command to attack, it just boom, it attacked. And then when it said, the person in charge of the dog said to stop or whatever, it would stop immediately and come back to them. Just really amazing stuff, how well they have these dogs trained and how well organized the Marines are and everything. Carnival Cruise addicts. This isn't a question I would expect from you all at all. Sarcasm there. Cruise Life TV. But before we get to Carnival Cruise Addict, says, hey, all, what's going on there? Joining the Marines. Okay, I'll be back. Going to restart the show and watch 2 times to catch up. Okay, yeah. I have joined the Marines for this week, Greg and Michelle. So Carnival Cruise Addicts, how did you do in the casino on this last trip? Okay, so full disclosure, I won in the casino, but also full disclosure, I didn't play that much. I really only played a couple nights. One of those nights was a really fun night. It was my best night, actually. And it didn't start off that way. So Derek from Island Time and we met up at the casino, and he was playing for a while. And I said, hey, if you're going to be here, a little bit longer, I'm going to come back. And I came back and he was still there. And I said, all right, so we started to play some craps. And for a while, it was working out pretty good. I think we were both up 200 or 300 from when we started. And then it kind of went away and walked away from the craps table down a little over 100, I think. And then I'm like, all right, well, you want to try some blackjack. So we go to blackjack and we're playing. I think we were playing at the $10 table, but I was betting about 15, 20 to start. And I'm a progressive bettor. So what that means for those of you that don't know is, like, let's say I bet $10, right? And I win. Often what I'll do is I'll just double that bet. And so I'll make that 20. Okay. So the whole key is being able to win at least 2 hands in a row. If you can't win at least 2 hands in a row, my way of doing this is really bad and you lose, right? So if I win that second hand, what I do is I take back my original bet. So I take back my $10, but then I also add another $10 to it. So now I got $30 out there and I have all my money back. So if I win 3 hands in a row, basically what's going to happen is, I win that 30, right? And then I'm going to take 10 off that 30 and add it to the bet. So now it's a $40 bet and I'm $20 ahead. And that's just betting, starting off with a $10 bet. But the whole key is, you gotta kind of win 3 hands in a row every so often. And then, hopefully, not win a hand, lose a hand, win a hand, lose a hand. That's the worst thing that could happen, really. And I mean, it's almost better to just lose, and then win like that. So it's a little bit tricky, but what happened? So making the story way too long. Lost a little bit of money, a couple hundred. I think I was down about 300 at one point. And then Derek had to leave. He had been there a while. And then I went on a massive run. So I was explaining the progressive betting. The reason I did that is, I might have started off with a $20 bet. Before I lost again, I had that bet up to over $250. So I don't even know how many hands in a row that means I won. But somewhere in there too, I had a double down or 2. So whatever that bet was at the time, I doubled, and won. It was a crazy hot streak. So I went from about, I don't know, 400 or something down to 800 ahead. So that was my big night right there. And then the other night I played, I was just kind of steadily losing, but not losing super fast, which is fine. But I did think at one point I was down about 700, 800 maybe. And I made a big comeback. And on the very last hand, they said 5 hands left. It was late. It was like 2 in the morning or something, 1:30 in the morning. On the very last hand, I had a $150 bet out there. And then it gave me, whatever hand it was, I had a chance to double down on it. And I won. And so, but because I won those 300, I finished, I was bought in for, like $1,000 or something. And I think I walked away with like $1,030. But yeah, so that's, so I got lucky basically. So I was happy with the way things turned out, but I didn't earn a whole heck of a lot of points. I did play slots. I played Carnival Cruise Addicts. I played your Buffaloes. That's the only slot machine I played. And I didn't lose any money, but I didn't win. But I did get some points out of it. So that part was cool. Tricia and Bert, like I said, they won the gold medal today. There's a lot of comments I got to check up on here. Everybody's saying hi to each other. And look at that. We have Mr. Chris Moss giving us our first super chat shot. And you are numbers 11 through 25. Let's get you up on the screen here. And this one I'm actually going to do. Okay. Some of these other ones I might have to mix because, like I said, I am shooting guns tomorrow. So it could get dangerous but I got to fill this one all the way to the top. And this is Jim Beam. So this isn't as good as the whiskey I normally shoot. But Chris, I appreciate it. Let me chase that a little bit. Jim Beam is a good mixer, but I've been getting a little snobby with some of my bourbons because I'm getting a little better bourbons to shoot now. So, but Chris, thank you for that. We are 25 in on the super chats from Frankie Floyd, Rick the Texas Cruiser, and Chris Moss. And let's see here. Carnival Cruise Addict says, they called me crazy and they said, wait a minute, we do that too. Funnel Heads, man, Andrew, it seems like we haven't seen Andrew in forever, but I watched a couple of his videos recently. Little Man did his first room tour. I watched that video. If you haven't checked out Funnel Heads, you can see Little Man doing a cabin review or a cabin tour. And he did really good. I mean, Little Man is not little anymore. He's like getting big super fast. And look at this. We got admin Tim. I think I missed what type of guns you get to shoot. I forget, honestly. I do have one of my colleagues in the room. Joe, do you remember what type of guns we get to shoot?
I think it might just be the standard issue rifle that they use within the Marines. It may or may not be an M16.
So he's saying it may or may.
I'm not sure.
May or may not be a M16. He's thinking it's more the standard issue rifle.
In the chat will probably know.
Yeah. So if I find out before the end of the show, I will let you know. But hey, I mean, it's live rounds and stuff. I know we're going to be shooting outside because one of the captains had said, I don't know how well y'all are going to be shooting because it was super windy today. So, they were worried about the wind and everything and how well we'd be able to shoot. So Tricia and Bert, yeah, I don't know guns the way some of you all know guns. So, I mean, a lot of this is French to me. I'll be quite honest. I'll be able to probably answer that question a lot better and learn some more about guns. Yes. And look at this. We got Lewis in the house. So Lewis, oh, wait, I got to do Tim's shot. What am I doing here? I didn't forget Tim. Hold on. We're going to back up and we're going to talk about Lewis here in a second. Okay. Yeah. And Tim coming through again. Thank you, sir. We'll get this shot loaded up here. This one should go down a little easier since I just did that other one. But yeah, it did go down a little easier. But thank you again for that, Tim. Carnival Cruise Addict says, just hydrate and you'll be fine. I will do that. I actually do have some water here, so I'll be drinking that. Rick is drinking the good stuff. He's got the Buffalo Trace for me. Well, thank you. I wish you could hyper speed that to me, but da-da-da. Funnelhead says little man is almost taller than Michelle. Yeah, he's getting up there. He's getting up there for sure. I mean, a lot of us have been watching Little Man since he was really a little man, and now he's not that anymore. You're gonna have to change the nickname, Andrew. I don't know. I mean, he's not little anymore. All right, so we got Lewis, who has a little woman named Amelia, and he says, "Hey, Coach, granddaughter, I should say. Cool catching up last week." So Lewis, it was a cool thing too. So Lewis and I actually stayed at Lewis's home down in the Miami area, Fort Lauderdale area. And anyway, he was on the Horizon, I was on the Jubilee, and those two ships were in port the same day in Cozumel. I didn't even know it, but his wife Monsi had messaged me and said, "Hey, what are you doing today?" Whatever. Well, I was doing El Cielo, and I didn't get back till late, but he was on the Horizon. They were staying later than us. So he said, "Hey, let's try to meet up in the bar." So that's what we did. So we went to Fat Tuesday, right at the end of the pier there, right where the ships, take off. And because, it was a rare opportunity to hang out and everything, they did say that, boarding, try to be back by 3:30. So it was 3:30, just a tick after. And I'm like, you know what? I got to get going. But there was a sign, I kid you not. I even took a picture of it or a video of it or something, I think, in the Fat Tuesday saying that Carnival Jubilee back on board time was 4:00. And I'm like, well, they're right at the end of the pier. I can see the Jubilee from where I'm sitting, and they hadn't blown a horn or anything. So, but needless, I'm like, I got to go. So I did. And I get to the pier, many of you have been to Cozumel, and you go to the pier, and then they got, one pier divides and goes this way, another pier divides and goes that way. So the one that was going this way was Horizon, and the people I saw were all walking to Horizon. Well, I took a left, and there's like no people. There's like no people on my whole big pier. And I look at all the open decks and balconies, and everybody is standing out there. And they're all screaming, "Run, run." They're cheering and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, am I really late? And then honest to God, I looked and I saw that only one ramp was open, or one gate, for guests to come back on. Everything else was put away. And that gate is so far away. That's what's so good, if you like to watch pier runners, about Cozumel's pier, is it's a long freaking pier. And I'm just like, you know what? The thing that bothers me when I see pier runners or pier walkers is if they come back late and it's past the time that they're supposed to be back and they walk. I've always said to myself, and maybe I'm mean for thinking this, but I'm thinking, like, if I'm the person in charge of deciding whether, we're going to pack up or wait for them, if I see them walking, I'm going to be like, all right, pack it up, and then we'll see if they run or not, But so I saw that. I did. I ran. It wasn't just because the people screaming and wanting to see somebody run. I had flip-flops on and everything. I took off running. So I was a pier runner, and I did that for Lewis. So Lewis, I hope you appreciate it. I had to be a pier runner so I could have a drink with Lewis. So, and I was. And I actually filmed that as I was running. So at some point, my day 7 vlog or whatever, or some other vlog, you will see that. So, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, Andrew was a Marine. So he trained in the very place that I'm at. So, you know what? If anybody knows, it is Andrew. And I guess we'll be shooting M4s tomorrow, according to Andrew, because they're talking about guns. So I will let you know there. Oh, is it Rick's birthday? Tim says, happy birthday at Texas Cruiser. Well, happy birthday, Rick. Definitely happy birthday. Trisha and Bert miss Zoe. I miss Zoe too. I do. Even though I've been on a cruise and I'm out here in San Diego, I miss Zoe. So I will have Zoe for you next Tuesday. I got to drive down. She's with my sister, and she's having a very good time playing with her cousin Zeke, who is a pit bull, and they're about the same height. And Zoe just terrorizes him. Zeke is just a sweet boy, and tolerates her, but he snaps at her every now and then. But he's a good dog. He really is. But Zoe, obviously she's playful and so energetic and everything. But Lacey, we love them too. And look at this. We got Sherry Bell back once again. And you know what? We might have a shirt to give away, even though I don't have a shirt to hold up, because we're getting very close to the $100 level because of that $50 super chat. So Tim was 26 through 40, and now Sherry becomes 41 through 90, which means we are only 10 away. Oh, I got to tell you, I have some potentially exciting news. And here's the thing. It's a teaser because there's two reasons I can't say what it is. But by New Year's, and this is a big tease. I mean, if it goes all the way to New Year's. First of all, Sherry and Jay, thank you so much. I'll try to give you as much information without giving anything away. So there's something I've always wanted to do, and I already know what you all are going to do. You're going to put in the comments, and you're going to try to guess what it is. And I'm going to have to play dumb or play like whatever. So I'm not going to fall for that. So don't try guessing, because even if you guess right, I'm going to have to ignore it and just not say you're right or whatever. But I will have an opportunity, potentially, to do something on a Carnival cruise ship that I've never done. I've been on at least 52 Carnival cruises now. And it's not something that very many people have done at all. I did something on this cruise, and I think I told you all about it. Aaron and I, because of a little mess up in Carnival Kitchen, we got a tour of the galley where we got to do tastings of all the food on the Jubilee, one of our last nights. I think it was our last night, actually, before anybody had even been seated for dinner. And we had our own personal chef walking us around back there and, explaining the tastings. And we're just going through trying all these different foods and stuff. And it was really cool. And that was just them making up for, a mistake they had made. And they knocked it out of the park with that. So we were super happy with that. But there's something way, way better than that. Way, way better that I've wanted to do for a long time. And somebody presented with me with the potential for that opportunity to happen by the new year. And if it happens and I'm allowed to film, I'm telling you, I mean, I'm so pumped about just the thought. It's going to be super cool. Super, super cool. But Sherry, again, and Jay, thank you so much for that. Lewis, yeah, that was Lewis for making me a pure runner. Yeah, lazy pure runners. I was not a lazy pure runner. I ran in flip-flops. And Lewis, it was absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely. I would do it again. I would run the pier for you again, Lewis. Absolutely. Texas Cruiser says, I was never a pier runner, but once in Cozumel, I do not remember getting back on board. Too much senior frogs. Yeah, that's how you miss the ship. I mean, if you don't even remember sometimes. Will G says, it's been almost 40 years since I went to Army Basic. Wow. Yeah, well, and again, thank you. Thank everybody. I mean, Andrew's on here. Anybody that served, Lewis is still active police, but anybody that has served, thank you so much. And we got Ashley Davis in the house. He's checking in from Facebook. The cool thing, and I shared this just the other day, Ashley and I hooked up, and he took me to this bar the day after I got off the Jubilee. or maybe it was the same day I got off the Jubilee, and we did a live. He and his daughter were the originators, his daughter specifically, who's still in high school. It's hard to believe. Cruising ducks, you would think they've been around for forever, right? That's not the case. It's not been that long. Maybe Ashley can say in the comments the year that it actually happened. But she created the craze, right? And she was the first to, hide the ducks in combination with her father, Ashley, there that's on the screen. And, they've been on my show talking about it. But I know if you Google it, you're going to find Abby and Ashley Davis's name about, the ones who started the duck craze or whatever. And Ashley even made those. I don't know how many of you have seen them, the John Heald ducks. He's the creator of that. He's the one that has those John Heald ducks. Said he was going to send a couple. And if he sends a couple extra, well, he said if he sends 2, nobody's getting those. But he said he might send a couple extra. And if he does send a couple extra, I promised him I would give those away as part of, for the winners of those who do the super chats or whatever, would get one of those special John Heald ducks that Ashley has there. So yeah. And Ashley Davis said it was 6 years ago that the hiding of the cruise ducks started. And now it's just, if they could market, like if they could get a cut of all the ducks that have been sold because of this idea, they'd be gazillionaires probably, because I don't know. There's so many people that love it and do it. And yeah, it's just very cool. But like I said, I did a live interview with him discussing the Jubilee, and Ashley is saying he will send some for a giveaway. So if that's the case, then yeah, you have the opportunity to get John Heald ducks instead of a Coach Cruise shirt, if that's what you choose. You can still have the Coach Cruise shirt, but if you'd rather have the John Heald specially limited edition ducks, they are pretty cool. And that's why I say if he's just going to send 2, Aaron's claiming 1, I'm claiming the other one. So it has to be more than 2. But if it's more than 2, we will put the other ones up for Super Chat. All right. Cruise Life TV, Greg and Michelle says, very cool. All right. So let's get back to the Jubilee. And by the way, like I said, we are only 10 away from doing a giveaway. If we do a giveaway and Ashley does send some extra John Heald ducks, if that is the prize that you would want, whoever is the winner for tonight, if we do the drawing, then when I get those, then you can say it. I want to claim one of the John Heald ducks, and then that can be yours. All right. And if not, just a T-shirt that you want will be fine as well. But look at that. Trisha and Bert Nichols, they got us to the magical 100. Let me write their name down right here. Trisha, Bert, 91 through 100. All right. So you know what that means. That means that we can do our drawing. Okay. So you see, it says nothing up there but 538. Let me just say all the numbers so far so we know who wins and there's no controversy. Frankie Floyd is numbers 1 through 5. Rick, the Texas Cruiser, is 6 through 10. Chris Moss, 11 through 25. Edmund Tim, 26 through 40. Sherry B is 41 through 90. And Trisha and Bert are 91 through 100. That gets us our first Super Chat drawing of the night. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100.
A random number between 1 and 100 is 93.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Trisha and Bert, the ones who just got us to 100, they snuck in there. They overcame the odds with their 10% chance of winning. They are 100% winners. So Trisha and Bert, if you would choose to get one of those John Heald ducks, then you can choose that. If not, you can choose one of my shirts, and congratulations on the win. And like I said, if anybody else does a super chat tonight, there's a good chance we won't get through another whole 100, but I will keep this list and I'll add it to the names that were from 2 weeks ago. If there's anybody from 2 weeks ago, if we didn't exactly hit 100, and then I'll combine them with this list, and we'll finish out our 100 that way. But yeah, congrats, Trisha and Bert, and just message me, let me know. And Ashley is saying that he'll send one out for tomorrow. So I gotta, I'll remind me, Ashley, and I'll send you my exact address, and yeah, that'll be cool. So I should have it. You should have it once it comes to me, then I'll send it to you or whatever, or assuming that's even what you want. But Trisha and Bert says, duck, please, even though we love your shirts. Okay. So yeah, then that's what'll happen. So congratulations. Good deal. All right. So we have about 19 minutes left. Let me tell you more about the Jubilee, because I'm sure some people tuning in wanted to know, like, hey, how was the last cruise or whatever. So we'll start off with the ports. Should I start off with the ports? Okay, the bar crawl. How about we do the bar crawl? Because that was day 3. Well, I'll try to go through it day by day, honestly, what I can remember anyway, because I have had a couple drinks, a couple shots. So day 1, cruise day. Cruise day was a lot of fun. We did have to do the old school muster drill, which kind of sucked. I'm really in love with the new muster drill, which you basically walk in. It takes about 18 seconds, and then you walk out and you're done with your muster drill. I mean, that is the best muster drill ever. But we had to do the old muster drill, so we had to, go to the theater, and we were luckier than some people, because we actually obviously had seats, unless you were one of those people that decided to just drag it out, and make everybody wait and be one of the last people there. And so apologies to anybody that had to stand on the stage, but if you saw my cruise day video, you saw the entire theater was packed. Every seat was taken, because that muster area is where you have to go or whatever. And then anybody that came late, if there were no seats, you had to stand on stage, and you had to do it the old school way, where you were standing single file, your forehead against the other person's back of their head, and rows right there on the stage. And I'm like, you know what? This is what, that was the punishment for you making everybody wait. If you'd have got there on time, you would have had a seat. But, it was just one of those rare times when it's like, oh, there's a little bit of justice. Like, oh, okay, you want to take your time and make everybody wait. It's like, okay, there you go. I guess you're standing on stage. So, and Kakin says, I made it. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, I know, and Derek was sitting on the other side. I know he did that. He was, for those of you that are island timers, what did I call it? Island cruisers. If you're subscribed to Island Time and Coach Cruise, I call you island cruisers. But if you're an island cruiser, Derek was on the exact opposite side where I was sitting. If you saw the video from where I was sitting, I was on the upper left, and then Derek was on the upper right, and he was doing his Arkansas hooey call, or whatever you Arkansas, Arkansas's rally cry, or whatever it is. Yeah, Sam says, thankfully I was in the main dining room. Okay. Yeah, so for Sam's cruise, he didn't have to go anywhere, like he had a seat and everything. But yeah, I have seen some of the cruise ships where, people were on the outside, and that's what I remember about the old school muster drills, is you were standing outside, and like I said, they couldn't start, and then you'd hear making announcements, people's name that hadn't come to the muster drill, and literally everybody on the ship is waiting for those handful of people that are just thinking they're going to get away with not going or whatever. And it happened every single muster drill. And usually it was hot, and you were standing in a confined area. You felt all claustrophobic. You couldn't have a drink. It's not like you could bring a beer or your, drink of choice or whatever, and just, maybe if they did it that way, but nope, you had no drinks. So that had to all sit on the counter or whatever until it was over. But and we couldn't have drinks at this one either, even though we were just sitting in our theater seats. I wanted to, but you couldn't. But yeah, I mean, it went okay. So the steakhouse was really good. You know, the cruise day video is out. Also, speaking of videos that is out, I did an interview with Louis Claire. I released it the same time that we went live tonight. So after this show, if you would, those of you that have cruised with Louis Claire, if you want to see that interview, really good interview. I really enjoyed Louis Claire. Super, super nice guy. Super nice guy. You know, he called me several times in my cabin to, you know, try to coordinate a time where we could meet up and do this interview and everything. And we finally made it happen on the last day. And spent about an hour with him. You know, Aaron was behind the camera there making sure nothing went wrong. And then, you know, I took that picture of the thumbnail where I'm holding him. And that was his idea, by the way. He's like, yeah, pick me up, you know. He's like, you're so big, pick me up. I'm like, are you serious? I thought he was joking with me. He was like, no, it'll be a good picture. And I'm like, okay. And it was a good picture. So that was cool. He wasn't wrong. Sam says, pig suey. Yeah. Woo, pig suey. Okay. Yeah, that's I can't do it justice like Derek or anybody else that knows that call. But yeah, in Texas, I mean, Arkansas, they did a good job, and they should have won their last game that they lost. They had a lead and they blew it. But they did a good job making it as far as they did. Texas Cruiser says the University of Houston Cougs made the Final Four. Go Cougs. That's awesome. Congratulations for that. All the Houston people out there. And day 0, as you saw in the video, those of you who watch Cruise Day, I hooked up with my friends Mark and Laura, and they took us out for that barbecue. And also Mark gave us a ride and dropped us off at the port, which was awesome. Hit Waffle House. I mean, can you start Cruise Day off better? Okay, those of you that haven't seen the Cruise Day video, just tell me in the comments, did we do Cruise Day right? I mean, I don't know how we could have done it much better. We started it off with Waffle House. Okay, automatically there. If that's all you do and then you go to the ship, like, how do you mess that up? Like, you already made it good. And then to make it even better, you know, for dessert, we go to Buc-ee's. So we got Waffle House, and then we got Buc-ee's, and then we went to the cruise port. So, I mean, like, I don't know what other combination of 2 things you could do prior to going to the cruise ship would be better than that on Cruise Day. I mean, you tell me in the comments if you can top Waffle House and Buc-ee's before the cruise ship. So that's what happened. So, all right, Kakins is cruising with Mark Q. So I guess you are on the Vista. We got Michelle here from Cruise Life TV. Made it for the last little bit, and I'm glad you did, Michelle. Will G says, cruised with them a couple years ago on the Vista, and Kakins says, my team Auburn did as well. Yeah, very cool. I forgot about you in Auburn, but Auburn, Bo Jackson, one of the best football players Auburn has ever had, and he was one of my favorites before he hurt his hip. But yeah, Kakin says pre-cruise 6-pack. Michelle is in Ohio. You know who else is in Ohio? If Angie's still here, that's where she resides. And let's see, Texas Cruiser. Coach went to all the places we go to near my house. Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that, Chris. I could definitely hit an In-N-Out burger. I don't know how close I am to one in my current location. I'm at a Best Western and the Marines put us up in the Best Western too. It's a nice. We're in Old Town, San Diego, but they put us up in the Best Western. It's one of the better Best Westerns I've ever stayed in. Not that I stay in a lot of Best Westerns, but the few I've stayed in, this is probably the best one I've stayed in. It's pretty nice, honestly. And then, you know, Old Town is a nice little area. We walked out and, you know, yesterday was more of we arrived in San Diego, checked into the hotel. We had a little meet and greet, a little dinner and stuff, and they kind of told us about everything that was going to happen during the week. And then after that was over, some of the Marine people that we were with are like, hey, if you guys want to hang out, whatever. So we all got together and we went out and had a margarita and stuff, and that was good. And we got to bed early because we had to get up early today to do all the stuff that I told you all about earlier. So, but In-N-Out Burger, that sounded real good right now, actually, because I haven't eaten, and yeah, that sounds good. All right, we have less than 10 minutes left before our hour is up. And since I am out here in San Diego, I definitely want to get out and about. So I will not be going way over time today, unless there is like some insane super chats or something like that. That's about the only thing that will keep me going a little bit longer. Will G says a lot of good places to eat down there. Yeah. So far I had a really good tostada, ceviche tostada. And then they had a nice Mexican meal for us. The Marines did, that was catered in. That was really good. And then on the Marine base today, what do we have? We had jambalaya. We had salad, jambalaya, cornbread. The cornbread was really good. The shrimp that they put in the jambalaya and stuff was really good. Had brownies and then some kind of Tex-Mex corn or something too that was pretty good as well. So yeah, they're like I say, they're treating us well. Even when they're yelling at us, like I said, it's all to give us kind of that feel of what our students or athletes or whatever might experience in the future. So look at that. And that's in Ohio. So I know Angie's close to the Dayton area where my cousin lives. So you got a Buc-ee's coming to. That is awesome. In Illinois, they have like a Buc-ee's wannabe place, and it's called Wally's. And it is really, really big. They've tried to kind of steal Buc-ee's blueprint or whatever, and they do a lot of the same stuff as Buc-ee's, but it's not as good as Buc-ee's. It's called Wally's. It's not as good as Buc-ee's, but I don't know how many Wally's there are, or if that's just a single Wally's, or I'm guessing there's probably more than one of them, but I think somebody with a lot more money than all of us probably said, oh, this Buc-ee's thing is making a lot of money. Let's try to duplicate it and make our own. So there's a Wally's by us, but it is not Buc-ee's. It is really good, and I stop there every time though. So they're the best, the closest thing I can get to Buc-ee's. I'll say that. Kakin says, I got a Buc-ee's 20 minutes or even less away from me, and 5 to 8 minutes away from Waffle House. Oh, there you go. That's living right there. And I mean, the beauty of that is Waffle House is not expensive, and you can go in there and you can get a good quality meal. At least I think so. I'm sure there's some people that don't like Waffle House out there, but I'm always going to get a pecan waffle. And I got the all-star breakfast plus the pecan waffle. And I think I got biscuits and gravy too, because everything I said before that wasn't enough food. And I ate it all. And that was Waffle House, and I ate it all. And even their coffee's good, in my opinion. So you have that. All right. So any other questions about the Jubilee or my Marines experience? I get to still shoot guns. I get to rappel down a tower. What else? We get to see, we got a whole bunch of stuff that we get to see that's going to be really cool and stuff. We get to see a graduation, all the Marines that have gone through the 3 months of training on Friday. We get to see that, and then it all wraps up and we fly back Friday night, I believe. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. And like I said, I've taken video, and they've said you can do it. So I've taken videos. I felt a little awkward sometimes because I'm holding up my camera, or I'm holding up my phone video on these drill sergeants as they're yelling at us and stuff. But I'm thinking it's going to make for a cool video, even though it's on Coach Cruise and it's not about cruising. I'm thinking some of you will appreciate it. So that video will be coming to you in the next week or two, hopefully, once I can I got so much film, so I'm gonna have to edit a lot of it, but we'll see what we can get to. And if I'll put out at least one video with the whole Marines thing, and if I get a lot of comments and a lot of likes and people say they want more, I will have a bunch more content and a bunch more information that I can share in regards to the Marines. But I know we're a cruise channel, so I know some people are like, we don't care about that. We just want to hear about cruising. I get it. But Chris says In-N-Out Burger is a 19-minute walk from me. Ooh, okay. And I could probably get some steps in. So yeah, if I don't try to make that Padre game, maybe that's what I will do. All right, Texas Cruiser. Buc-ee's is the one we go to from Christmas gifts. They have great, unusual Texas themed items there. Yeah, that, you know what? Honestly, I was a little parched there. I had to take a drink. I kind of regret not buying some Buc-ee souvenir, a t-shirt or hat or something. I did buy some Buc-ee beaver nuggets, and I smashed those in less than 2 days. And those of you that know what the beaver nuggets are, it's a big old bag of sweet, like puff corn or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're really good. And yeah, I killed that bag myself in less than 2 days. So that's good stuff. But I still don't have a Buc-ee's t-shirt. I've been to Buc-ee's probably about 4 times now, and I've never walked out of there with a t-shirt. I'm going to have to make a point maybe on my next Buc-ee's trip to pick up a t-shirt there. And Chris Moss says, love the beaver nuggets. How can you not? I think it's like $5 or something for a big old bag, like this big or something. And just, yeah, so good. So absolutely. All right. Well, we're like a little over 2 minutes away from the end of the show. So I will start to say goodbye. Texas Cruiser says, yeah, I saw beaver nuggets on your video. Yes, you did. I thought you were the one that pointed it out, and you were. So I see we got our numbers dropping. Some of you are checking out, but thank you everybody for joining. I know I didn't post that I was even going to do a show until like an hour or so before the show. It's because I wasn't sure schedule wise, until I knew that I would have this time free to be able to come on and talk to you all. So I'm glad so many of you, tuned in and checked in and, found out about what everything was going on. I will have a lot of Jubilee content coming out. Like I said, the Louis Claire video, for those of you that will be cruising with him in the future, or if you cruised with him in the past, I think you'll enjoy that interview quite a bit. And even if you aren't going to be cruising with him, I mean, if you're an avid cruiser, you're going to be interested in some of the stories and information he shares in that interview. So check that out. Chris Moss and Will G say, good night all. Enjoy your evening. Trish and Bert, have a good night. Everyone have an awesome week, says Texas Cruiser. Angie Brooks says, have a great time, Coach. Good night, everyone. Have a fabulous week. Good night to you as well, Angie. Chris Moss says, night all. Michelle says, good night, everyone. And I say, good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next Tuesday with Zoe. We'll get Zoe back in here. Thanks again to everybody who did a super chat. One last shout out, Frankie Floyd for getting us started, Rick the Texas Cruiser, Chris Moss, Tim G, Sherry B, and congratulations to our winners who were Trisha and Bert, and they are going to take the John Hill Duck that Ashley is so nice to be sending me, and then I will be sending it to Trisha and Bert for their win. So thanks again, everybody. We will see you all next Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye. And end stream.